Hey, Daddy, this is the man of the champions, Bill Fonzie Alfonso, giving a shout out to
Something else.
something else, Daddy.
This is Nickel Matata, Great Warrior Wolf, and you are listening to Something Else.
I'm Tony Cini, and you're listening to Something Else.
Hey everybody, it's Rich Palladino, the voice of New England, and you are listening to Something Else with Arya.
And welcome to episode number 301 of Something Else. Feast your ear holes on this week's episode as we take a look at Mid-South Wrestling from June 8th, 1985, along with two matches from the Superdome Spectacular from June 1st, 1985. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, is the big cat Ernie lad to my Muhammad Ali. It's Trae. Trae, how the hell you doing today?
I'm terrific. I'm not Bundini Brown to your Muhammad Ali.
I mean
it's cooler. It is cooler to be Ernie Ladd, but have you ever, like, this is probably a national chain. Do you have Nothing Bundt Cakes up there?
No.
Okay, so
you're saying Bunt?
Bundt,
B-U-N-D-T?
B-U-N-D-T. Yeah, Nothing Bundt Cakes.
That sounds interesting, but no.
Well, it's really good. They have really, really delicious bundt cakes, but they have like different sizes.
Mm-hmm.
And like the I think the middle one, like usually the one that you would just go and buy to get to eat, is called a Bundini.
Okay. I was wondering where this one was going.
That's where that was going.
This show is not sponsored by Nothing Bundt Cakes, by the way.
No,
they did not pay us anything for the plug. Well, you should bring a Bundini up to Chicago.
Maybe I'll see if I can do that. Maybe they have them in Chicago. I don't know. They're everywhere. They're everywhere down here. I assumed it was a national chain.
I just laughed that we're gonna be in Chicago for like 30 hours. And like you've got like a dozen places you want to go eat something at.
3. I have 3 things I want to eat. I think I can handle that in 48 hours.
We're definitely getting some deep dish pizza.
Absolutely.
That goes without saying. But yeah. So yeah, G1 next month. If for some reason you want to come hang out with us, come to the G1 at the Now Arena, and you might run into us.
Yeah, and also. So I've actually filled up my schedule a little bit. I will be in Chicago on July 11th. I will also be at Dynamite and Collision here in Houston, Sugarland on June 17th, and then on Friday, June 26th. I have been threatening for a while to start going to more local shows, so I will be going to New Texas Pro Wrestling on Friday, June 26th.
So we will not be doing a Friday night spot show that day.
We will not, and we will also the week of the Dynamite. We will have to do Smoky Mountain on Tuesday.
Oh, I'm looking at my schedule. My schedule is some screwy ass shit here. But yeah, I have an Evanescence concert coming up. I have multiple transport groups. I have multiple book clubs. I have to do my shoot job. I still have 3 more prides this month, including 2 this week. It's fun being gay in June, I must tell you that.
I gotta say, like last Saturday, we had our NFB Houston chapter meeting and it's downtown, and I realized when I saw that there was a Pride event like a couple of miles away from there at the same time, I was like, oh God, like I'm proud of you, but holy shit. And then
yes.
I think Houston Pride ended up getting postponed because of the rain that day.
Fun. So in addition to the G1 on the 11th, I think they're having a fan fest on the 10th of some kind.
Yeah.
Plus, AEW's doing Dynamite and Collision in Boston on the 15th and 16th, which I'd forgotten about even before all of this crazy running around that I'm doing to Chicago. So yeah, my life's kind of busy coming up here. Plus, like my life's busy even when you take out the fact that I'm in a loving relationship.
Yeah,
by the way,
it's good that you're managing time for that.
yes. By the way, I have to kind of warn you. I guess we'll see what happens next week. But this week on TNA, the pay-per-view really sucked, and Impact was really great. So get ready for the next 2 weeks, buddy.
See, I was thinking that I might watch those sometime just because that would be like the 1 week that I missed out of 4, but I don't know, maybe.
I mean, maybe you'll like the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view is very flat. And the finish of the main event is a colossal epic fuck up.
Yeah, I don't know. You and I talked about this. I don't remember if I said it on the podcast or not. So it's like I moved my catching up energy into New Japan because of the G1.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I will be caught up on New Japan this week. And then I can start my watching modern stuff while slowly working on my 2 weird AEW gaps in 2024 and 2026.
When you try to watch 3 months of AEW before next Wednesday.
Yeah, that's just it'll be okay. I'm just gonna go. I'm not gonna
probably not gonna happen. You know, MJF is the world champion, right?
I did know that.
You did know that or didn't?
I did.
Okay, good. Speaking of the world champion, there was no world class this week, and so before Trey could force me to watch something awful, I was like, hey, what if we watch that Ric Flair Terry Taylor match we talk about all the time on this show? And then Trey, because he still insists that we watch something awful, is like, yeah, let's watch a Snowman too. Like, motherfucker.
That match wasn't awful.
No, it could have been a lot worse, and we'll get to it. So this is from the WWE Legends of Mid-South DVD. So even though we're not watching it in the correct order, because I'm pretty sure the Flair match went on after the Snowman, it airs Terry Taylor versus Ric Flair, and then Snowman versus Jake Roberts.
Isn't it weird? So I don't know how you watched it. I actually watched it on my Blu-ray, and so the Flair and Taylor match is the last thing on disc 1, and then the Snowman match is the first match on disc 2.
Almost. It was the last thing on disc 2, and the Snowman's the first match on disc 3. Unless you mean you're watching on the Blu-ray. Never mind.
Yeah,
I have the I have to hook back up my Blu-ray player, and I was too lazy to it, and it was easier to just torrent the Legends of Mid-South DVD up XWT. So that's what I did. So anyway, there's a story that we've talked about that Terry Taylor's talked about Ric Flair's condition heading into this match. Let's go to that right now. It's Terry Taylor from the Legends of Mid-South Wrestling DVD talking about this match.
You may not believe this, but at one time I was selfish, and I was all about Terry. I was 5 years in the business, and I was starting to figure out that this is a pretty cool gig, having girls chase me and people chant my name and get paid to do what I liked. Well, I was a huge fan of Ric Flair's, and we had done an angle in Louisiana where he was going to wrestle me at the Superdome for the NWA World Title. Well, I get to the building, the Superdome, at like 2 in the afternoon. I have to be there till 6, and I'm doing push-ups and blow dry my hair 9 times. This is my big main event versus Ric Flair on top. You know, good house. It's super card. So I'm waiting and waiting. 7 o'clock, he's not there. 7:30, he's not there. 8 o'clock, the thing starts, he's still not there. About 8:15, he rolls in, and I mean, reeks of alcohol. Looks like he's been wearing the same clothes 3 days. hair's matted, he stinks, and he's actually getting helped in by one of the security guys who's carrying his bag. We didn't have wheelie bags back then, and Rick's robe. And Rick lays on the couch and says, "Come get me in an hour." This is your opportunity to make me look good. That's what Ric Flair does. How are you going to make Terry Taylor into a bigger star when you're so hungover you can't even open your eyes? I was hot. I was mad at him. The best part was he says to me, "Bring me a cup of coffee in an hour." So now I'm the coffee guy, right? So I do as I'm told. I get him the coffee, and the match is getting ready to go, and he's still in his clothes, and he's a mess. And we got about 20 minutes, and the guy comes and gets me on one of the golf carts and says, "You got to go to the other side." So they give me the golf cart, and you drive around in the golf cart because the Superdome's so big. And I've got my little jacket on, and I'm mad. Ric Flair didn't come here ready to make me look good. So I go to the ring, and there's 26, 27,000 people out there. His music plays, and I'm seething because I'm going to have to carry Ric Flair to a 12-minute match, which at the time I didn't know if I could do or not. He walks through that curtain, his hair is immaculate. He's got the robe on, he comes walking out in full Ric Flair mode. I'm like, okay, well, the guy had a cup of coffee, and he's got his hair done, and he looks okay. 40 minutes later, I'm begging him to pin me because I can't breathe anymore. And he's going, let's go, let's go, let's go. I can't breathe. Finally, he pins. I had never been more happy to lose a match in my life. 48 minutes we went when he couldn't even open his eyes an hour before that. And I said, this guy's not from planet Earth. That night, later on, Bourbon Street, having a great time. Not me, him. I was in the iron lung trying to get my breath back. Ric Flair was amazing. I can't tell you, and that whole story's true. I'm not embellishing any of it because he legitimately couldn't walk when he got there, and an hour later, coffeeed up, he went an hour, 48 minutes. Woo! He's the man.
That is one of my favorite stories, and I don't want to say Terry Taylor's full of shit. I do question some of it, but it seems perfectly reasonable and logical that Ric Flair would be hungover as fuck and still go out there and put on a great show. And if Trey was off mute, this is where he'd say, I agree with you, Arya.
I sure do.
And
I was just saying, did you? I'm going to do it now. Where was Flair the night before? Do we know?
Oh, I didn't look it up.
I'm gonna look it up while we get into this here.
So, the few things that I can forgive Terry Taylor for, there's only 11,000 people at the Superdome, but hey, you know, it at this point, this is like a 2012 DVD, you know, and he's recalling something from 30 years ago. I gave him a free pass on that one. And
Yeah,
even with that said, he was remarkably close to the time because he says 48 minutes. It really went about 40. But
it went
still,
38. It went 38 minutes. It's wrestlers are always gonna exaggerate. If the match is under 20 minutes, they're gonna add at least 20 minutes, and if it's over 20 minutes, they're gonna add at least 10 minutes.
I was say, according to Boyd, it was 39:44. I wrote that down.
According to me, it was. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, 39:44. It was exactly 39:44.
All right. So Carl Fergie is the referee. Now, I'm going to say this. I don't know why. I don't even know why this pisses me off. And this pissed me off when I got this DVD in 2013. Whenever it came out, I got this DVD. I actually got this Blu-ray. I'm looking at it right now on my shelf. Just like I said, I didn't feel like hooking up my Blu-ray player. But they had Jim Ross, 2012, 2013 Jim Ross, go into the studios and do commentary. And whether it was a Jim Ross decision or a WWE decision, he does commentary as if this is 1985. And I don't know why that really bugged me. And I'll explain. The reason why it bugged me is because, like, okay, obviously, Jim Ross went through at least 2 bouts of Bell's palsy up to this point. His voice is not the same. We know that. I am not saying, oh man, he doesn't sound like he's 20 years old anymore. Fuck that. I don't sound like I'm 20 and I've never had Bell's palsy. My issue was he's pretending to be 1985 Jim Ross while talking like a 2012 WWE commentator. So I get that Jim Ross could not go back and watch hours and hours and hours of old Mid-South tapes before doing all these commentary, because he did it on more than just this match. He did all the house show matches like this. But he talked about how Terry Taylor is a 4-time TV champion who's beaten the likes of Nikolai Volkov and Crusher Khrushchev.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I did notice that.
Yeah. First of all, he's a 2-time champion. And while, yes, he's beaten Nikolai Volkov and Crusher Khrushchev, it didn't happen now. It would not be like if you were really talking about what's leading into this match, those are not the people you'd mention. And then he also mentioned how Carl Fergie was Jerry Lawler's cousin, which never would have been mentioned in 1985. And I think I would have been less annoyed if JR wasn't pretending that it was 1985 while doing the commentary. But
That's.
I get it's me nitpicking to hell, but
You had a.
you know.
You had a lot of feelings about that match.
Yes, I do. So on to the match. First 15 minutes was all on the mat. Taylor was on top more than he wasn't. Boyd announced the 15-minute call, which was basically the cue for Flair to get up and take control. And he tried to light Taylor up with chops in the corner, but even that wasn't working out for him too well. But Flair saw his opening, and when Fergie broke them up in the corner, Flair thumbed Taylor right in the eye, and now we go to school. For some reason, now is the time that made me think, considering how close Ric Flair is, or at least was, with Triple H, it's really weird when he calls himself the dirtiest player in the game. Nope,
Now who's not in the right timeline?
So Taylor made a flurry at the 25-minute call. It's almost as if they worked this match in a way to revolve around doing something at the time calls. Just after 30 minutes, Flair got on the figure 4 and Taylor rolled it over. This is where I wish we had 1985 Jim Ross. Because like I said, I'm not expecting him to watch hours and hours of TV to prepare to record commentary for a dozen house show matches. But this angle was all about the figure 4, and JR doesn't know that, because why would he at this point? And so he doesn't even mention that, oh my God, Terry Taylor's got on the figure 4 on Ric Flair. And Jim Ross is just treating it like somebody put the figure 4 on him, other than it being, this was the angle. This is what it was building up to. Flair got to the ropes, but Taylor was still on fire. Flair is swinging wildly at Taylor, who didn't even need to duck. Taylor goes for another figure 4, but gets kicked off into the corner. Taylor makes another comeback and accidentally booted Flair into Fergie. He gets a visual pinfall. Flair heaved Taylor over the top rope, which no matter what 2012 Jim Ross tells you, was not a disqualification in Mid-South. Taylor got a ton of near falls, but Flair reversed a roll-up into one of his own, got 2 hands full of tights, and got the win. I gave it 4 stars. I really like this match.
I had 4.5 written down from the first time I watched it, and I didn't edit it. I still thought this was a fucking tremendous match. Again, I don't think it's reaching to say that this was the best match of Terry Taylor's career. Like, if anybody out there can name me a Terry Taylor match in the same universe, the same stratosphere as this match, please let us know in the comments.
I couldn't even tell you what the second best Terry Taylor match is. Like, Terry Taylor was like the king of the 2.5 to 3 star match.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You know?
Yeah. By the way, as far as I can tell, Flair doesn't have a match recorded for the day before this, which would have been May 31st. 2 days before this, he went to an hour draw with Magnum TA in Columbia, South Carolina.
Maybe having to wrestle Magnum for an hour made him drink up a storm.
Looking at this, in the span of like a week, he wrestled Magnum for an hour at least 3 times. And the week before that, he went 45 minutes with Billy Jack Haynes in Portland.
Poor Ric Flair having to go 45 with Billy Jerk Haynes.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, you'd mentioned you had a nitpick about this. Was it this match, or did you want to save it for the next one?
No, and I didn't have a nitpick about the match. I was just in a weird state of mind watching this because I was thinking about a tweet that I had just read from Matt D, a very, very intelligent fellow when it comes to thinking about this wrestling bullshit. And he was talking about how you can view wrestling as something for the moment, or you can view it as something with certain timeless qualities. And this is part of this whole ongoing arguing with Dave about classic wrestling that I have been involved with of late. So as I was watching this match, I was thinking about like what appealed to me about this great match from 41 years ago. So Taylor's working a headlock for a long time, and I'm just thinking about how they were building their narrative and guiding the audience. And then in the back of my mind, I'm just seething because I'm thinking about the fucking people who heard the term rest hold at some point and now call every hold a rest hold. And then maybe I'm out of touch. No, it's the children who are wrong. But anyway, this match was really great. And contrary to what some people insist, I know that it was great because I was watching this looking for a great match from 1985. I was not watching this in 2026 looking for a 2026 work rate great match because I know how to think historically. And I don't understand how Dave got from Terry Funk telling him that wrestling is about time and place to nobody who watches classic wrestling has any capacity for historical thinking. Like, it just, as a historian, it offends me on multiple levels.
So it didn't bother you that Ric Flair didn't once do a super kick or any kind of a 450 splash?
No.
Okay, interesting. See, that's why I only gave it 4 stars. If Flair had done a 450 or some sort of acai moonsault, then it would have been 4.5.
Okay, Arya said the first 15 minutes were on the mat. And yes, that is true.
More or less.
But dude, they worked a fucking headlock for 15 minutes.
Yes.
And it was incredible.
I was not disparaging that. I was saying that there's only so much I can write about a headlock for 15 minutes.
I'm agreeing, but it's like they worked this headlock and I loved it the whole time.
Yeah. And it's like, and it also makes sense logically if you look at this as real, and it makes sense logistically knowing they're going 40 minutes because you need to rest up for a hot finish because they went 25 minutes pretty hard. Like, I know I skimmed through a lot of this, but it's like they worked a lot into those last 25 minutes. It's not like, oh, well, the Vince Russo, no one wants to see an hour-long headlock, bro. It's like,
yeah, fuck that, I do.
The worst part about, I told this to Cindy tomorrow, the worst part of all these fucking TNA shows we've been watching is my Vince Russo impression's getting pretty good. But that's tomorrow on the TNA show.
I will say that it did suck that like JR didn't know to put over the big spot that they built to where Taylor reversed the figure 4, but Flair got the robes.
Yeah. It happens. I wish, and I guess, and I mean, they ran out of time, but I wish they would have explained why, since the whole point was Taylor's getting the shot because he's the North American champion, why is he still getting the shot when, he's no longer the champion?
That was also not explained on the TV that aired
next week. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. TV champion, the Snowman, with Muhammad Ali and Bundini Brown versus Jake Roberts with the Barbarian. My exact quote that I sent to Trae on Facebook: if this match actually goes 20 minutes, I will murder Trae.
And my response was, I am watching 3 hours of TNA 3 times in 4 weeks for you. I don't want to fucking hear it.
The Mid-South DVD has a bunch of footage of JR going to Ali's house and his church, and I'm sure it aired on Power Pro, but I'm mad this didn't air on the Mid-South show.
Mosque. I'm not correcting you. I was sitting, when I was watching this, I could not think of, I know the word for a Muslim religious house is not church, and I could not remember it. It just popped into my head right now.
So Grizzly Smith led Ali halfway down the aisle, and about halfway down, Ernie Ladd stood up and took over, which I thought was funny. Ladd leads him the rest of the way, and he could not keep a straight face because Ali kept going towards the ring where Jake and Barbarian were taunting him, and so Ladd is restraining him. Also, to make it funny, so we mentioned it's 2012 JR in a studio doing commentary. Who is in the group of people walking Muhammad Ali around the ring? 1985 Jim Ross.
That's tremendous.
And he could not, obviously he was not going to point out that he's standing there because he was like, oh, there's TV announcer Boyd Pierce there, and there's Bundini Brown. I'm like, and there's Jim Ross. Oh. So this ends up not meaning anything, but Boyd does announce that the title's on the line only for the first 15 minutes. Ali was not a fan of all the skullduggery being perpetrated by the heels. Bundini Brown didn't give a shit. He was cashing his check and just sitting at ringside and watching. Ladd at points was literally having to fight to hold back Ali from getting in the ring. Ali broke free and chased the Barbarian temporarily. Snowman kicked out of a leg drop, which, as we've noted before, is not a move that works in Mid-South wrestling. Barbarian gets in the ring and puts Snowman in a full Nelson, and this is where we find out this is apparently a no disqualification match. So Jake goes after Bundini, which was the cue for Ali to get on the apron, and this was the famous moment where, hey, when the celebrity boxer comes in, your job as a heel is to get punched in the face and go flying. The Barbarian got punched in the face and went flying. Jake the Snake Roberts, who, he's not fat and out of shape, but he's got an athlete's build. He's not jacked. Whatever. He took Ali's punch. He took 4 or 5 of them and never went down. And Snowman won with a body slam in 10 minutes. I wrote, okay, Trae can live. Having to watch 6 more hours of TNA this month is a worthwhile punishment.
I enjoy John Nord as the Barbarian more than I have ever cared about the Berserker or anything else that he's ever done. He has killer mannerisms.
Yep. And of course, the famous thing after the match was Watts wanted to know why Jake didn't go down. He just pointed out, Ali's not going to be here next week. I am.
I will not say that this was a great match. I will say that Jake Roberts was great in this match. He did everything he could to work a match around this fucking guy. This was as good as it possibly could have been.
If you had tried to say that this was a great match, I would have had to re-murder you. But yeah, the Snowman is still the TV champion. He hasn't pawned the medal for a crack or anything yet.
Here on this house show.
Yes. Do you think he went down Bourbon Street wearing the medal?
I hope so.
Yeah. All right, so that is the Superdome show. Probably the last time we ever discuss anything from the Superdome, unless we get to Clash of the Champions 6 or WrestleMania 30 for some reason. Or remember when Nitro was in the Superdome a couple times?
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. All right, so skipping ahead a week, it is Mid-South Wrestling, June 8th, 1985. Let's go to the intro with JR and Joel, who are also going to tell you how you can make some money off Mid-South Wrestling.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another exciting hour of Mid-South Wrestling. I'm Jim Ross, and along with Joel Watts, we'll describe the acts that you'll see in the next 60 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, some superb action that Matchmaker Grizzly Smith has organized here today. Great tag team action. For example, you're going to see the Fantastics go against the Dirty White Boys. You'll see Brickhouse Brown and Brad Armstrong in a very important matchup with Ted DiBiase and Steve Dr. Death Williams, the Mid-South Tag Team Champions, ladies and gentlemen. Joel, plus we have a lot of great single competition.
We've got Hacksaw Jim Duggan in action today. We've got Kamala, the Ugandan Warrior. We've got Dirty Dutch Mantel, the new North American Heavyweight Champion. The Nightmare will be in action. And one that I'm proud to talk about, my father, Cowboy Bill Watts, will be wrestling on this episode of Mid-South Wrestling. But, Jim, there's a special offer for a lot of people out there.
It sure is, Joel. Ladies and gentlemen, Mid-South is a tremendous fundraiser for nonprofit groups and organizations. You'll get your paper and pencil handy. Here is how you can have Mid-South Wrestling in your hometown for your organization. This announcement is for nonprofit groups and organizations. Mid-South Wrestling is a tremendous fundraiser, and dates are now being scheduled in your area. Your group could sponsor Mid-South Wrestling at your local high school gymnasium or athletic field. See the top wrestling stars from television in your hometown and raise money for your favorite project. For more information, write Mid-South Sports, 116 West Breckenridge, Bixby, Oklahoma, 74008, and include your phone number. Mid-South Wrestling can help your organization raise money right today. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a tremendous fundraising opportunity for your group or organization. And ladies and gentlemen, right now, there's a legend in the ring, Joel.
Cowboy Bill Watts is just getting set to wrestle. Let's go to the ring right now.
Sorry, I don't know about you, but I have a local high school near me.
So do I. It's right next to the place that I get the really good chicken strips.
Ooh, the really good chicken strips. I'm just happy you don't get the really shitty chicken strips from there.
No, I've told you about the boba plate, the boba bird with the boba and the chicken strips.
You have. They're quite large chicken strips, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mid-South, you can bring Mid-South to your local gymnasium for a fundraiser. It can help your organization raise money. But before we get local shows at your high school gym, we're going to have some fantastic tag team action today, including the Fantastics versus the Dirty White Boys, along with Brickhouse Brown and Brad Armstrong in a very important match, a VIM against Doc and DiBiase.
Not to be confused with the VKM, which was a terrible TNA tag team.
Yes. Billy Gunn was on Chris Van Vliet, and this one keeps popping up on my feed for whatever reason. He did not have fun working in TNA.
I couldn't tell.
Yes. And I forget if it was an A&E biography, but I was watching some WWE produced documentary on DX, and they showed the VKM stuff from TNA, and Triple H was basically like, they were on drugs. Like that's probably about right. You know?
That's probably fair.
All right. So we go to the ring for our first match, which is Cowboy Bill Watts versus the Bruiser. I think Watts should have to start wrestling serious competition and not a masked jobber. I personally find it to be insane the way Russia is hoarding the wheat and making it so the prices to us here in America are way too high. Also, the problems with the Iranian oil, and someone like General Skandar Akbar benefits from the increased prices of oil here in America. Watts won with the Oklahoma Stampede.
Okay. Watts had a squash match, and the people loved it, and the announcers put him over huge because one of them is his son, and the other one worships him even more than that.
Fast forward to 1993 WCW. He goes on TV talking about Eric is his best friend. I imagine Joel is just sitting at home, sad-faced.
Poor Joel.
Oh, God. But yes, Geopolitical Arya Witner will come out every time Bill Watts is wrestling. Maybe I need to do some research about amateur wrestling, so the next time he wrestles, I can just start talking about random amateur wrestlers I know.
There you go.
Yes. Oh, God. I wrote, don't get too used to this. I think he makes it a month. I don't think he lasts longer than that. General Skandar Akbar presents Kamala who goes one-on-one with Frankie Lane. Now, here's a question for you. Last week, Dutch whipped Frankie Lane and no one gave a fuck. And then he started trying to whip a black man, and the Snowman came in and made the save. If Dutch came out and started whipping Kamala, would the Snowman make the save?
I would love to find out.
Well, Dutch Mantel, if you're listening to this, I don't know why you're not. If you could dig up Kamala and start trying to whip him and see if the Snowman, who may or may not still be alive, see if he tries to make the save, we'd be grateful for that.
Yeah.
So instead of Kamala, Duggan came out and was in the ring with his 2x4 getting ready to attack Kamala. Now, I know they rescinded the $10,000 fine rule, but you cannot not allow someone to have their wrestling match. And he not only fucked over Kamala, he fucked over Frankie Lane. This could have been Frankie Lane's big opportunity to get a big win and, move up the ranks. And Jim Duggan took that away from him.
I mean, Frankie Lane just fucked off, probably because he disagrees with the probability that it was going to be a turning point in his career.
So Kamala is not appearing if Duggan's in the ring, and Duggan says that he is not leaving. That's important to know. Jim Duggan will not leave until Kamala comes out. We go to commercial, we come back from commercial, and Jim Duggan has left. But let's go to Boyd Pierce and a special guest in the ring. And me unmuting the mic.
Time limit. I have an announcement to make. You know, Duggan, you must believe that you're dealing with a novice. As long as you're out here with any illegal foreign object, such as boards, etc., I'm not bringing Kamala down, and nor will I come down. But, Duggan, if you choose to play the game that way, I want to remind you that Kamala was once a great lion hunter in his native Uganda. Right now, he carries the spear only as a ceremonial object. But I must remind you, Duggan, he can use that spear any way that he wants to use it. Which means simply that with all my resources, if I have to bring in the one-man gang Killer Khan, a multitude of heavyweight wrestlers, incidentally, DiBiase, you owe me a favor. We'll get it done, Duggan. It's you and I, and Mid-South cannot survive the both of us. And with that cowboy Bill Watts coming out of retirement, I know what that means. I know exactly who the allies on the other side is going to be. But don't ever count me out, because I made a fool out of you, Watts, Mid-South, and Duggan. I've got plans for you like never before. So don't turn your back, fella, because it's going to mean the end of your career. You'll be pushing pencils and join the rest of the handicapped people in this world.
So his plan before was to set his face on fire. What other plans could he possibly have?
You think that's all the plans?
I don't know. I think what could be worse than him setting the man's face on fire?
Setting the man's crotch on fire?
I guess that is something. He could set his crotch on fire. Who knows? He might come back after 2 weeks then.
Will he have a protective mask on his crotch?
That would be hilarious. His regular tights, but with a mask over his over them. But we forgot to mention, after the Kamala Frankie Lane non-match, they talked about Muhammad Ali in the Superdome for Snowman versus Jake. And I started fast forward because we already talked about that. Yeah. Now, I did think, even though they didn't really say this, Akbar brought up how it's a ceremonial object, which is actually something Watts talked about like a year or two ago, because they had to acknowledge the fact that even though he's a savage, Kamala still has to travel through an airport, and thus he cannot be carrying a big-ass spear through the fucking airport. And they're like, and they had to say that it's fake. It's not a real spear. It's for ceremonial purposes. So I like that anyway. So after that, we go to our very important match. It is the tag team champions, Dr. S.T. Williams and Ted DiBiase versus Brad Armstrong and Brickhouse Brown. Despite losing to Jake and the Barbarian a few weeks ago, Brad and Brick still get a match against the champs. It's a non-title match, but a match nonetheless. According to Joel, they complement each other. I imagine it goes, "Hey, I like your boombox," and Brickhouse Brown goes, "Hey, I like your perm." Doc got busted open hard way from Brickhouse. We had a four-way, and while Carl Fergie was literally shoving Brickhouse out of the ring, Brad did a leapfrog over DiBiase and got thwacked in the head by Doc, and DiBiase beat him with a figure four. These guys are so not in contention for the tag straps.
They sure aren't. They acted like they were going to be our new babyface team, and well, with babyface teams like this, who needs heels? Or who needs jobbers? I guess.
I guess I should scroll down quickly before I say this. No, I'll say it. They didn't do any follow-up on last week's DiBiase and Doc, Jake and Barbarian situation.
Oh, they sure didn't. I was actually into that.
Hopefully it happens next week. So Jim Duggan versus Larry Clark. Tony Torres is your referee. Sadly, Kamala did not come out swinging his spear to prevent a match. Instead, Doc and DiBiase let Duggan have a grueling 12-second match before hitting the ring for the attack and the disqualification. Akbar tried to burn Duggan with a cigar, and time had to stand still because slow-ass Bill Watts had to hobble down the steps with a chair and get into the ring for the save.
Yeah.
Poor Jim Duggan. His only ally is slow as fuck.
Yeah.
I want to see Joel try to hit the ring one day.
Well, he used to hit it with his hand when he was a referee.
There you go. Although, if he was announcing and that would happen, Boyd would have to be there to point out that if you leave the announce desk and get in the ring, that's a $10,000 fine. I think Joel can cover that.
Yeah, probably.
Do you think Bill would let him dip into the family funds to pay his fine? Or would Bill make him pay it out of his own pocket?
Well, Bill loved fines, so he probably think it's constructive.
It's like, Dad, you don't even pay me that much in a year. Joel, I'm teaching you how to do things right. And my Bill Watts really needs work. If it helps, we don't. I guess we do have a couple more years of Bill here, but yeah. Recap of Terry Taylor losing the North American title belt to Nightmare, and then we get what is scheduled to be Nightmare, who is a bitch, a stooge, a D-Gens, and the North American champion with Eddie Gilbert versus ... Eddie Gilbert has something to say.
So wait, hold on. When the Nightmare defeated Terry Taylor to become the North American champion, did he also become the linear bitch, stooge, D-Gen, and little bitch?
That's what I thought. That's how I thought it worked.
Okay.
It's funny because I watched these shows in reverse, and I kind of thought you were going to pick up on the fact that I didn't call him a bitch, a stooge, and a D-Gens during the Ric Flair match and ruin the joke, but you did not pick up on it, so yay.
Well, we were talking about like the best thing he ever did, so I thought we were giving him a pass today.
On being a bitch, a stooge, and a D-Gens?
Yeah.
Okay. So Eddie Gilbert has gone over to speak to Boyd Pierce. Let's go to that.
And across, hold it just a second. From now on, when you introduce this man, you introduce him by his real name, the champion. Cut the Nightmare out.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard hot stuff Eddie Gilbert say that he wants the North American heavyweight champion to not be introduced anymore as the Nightmare, but as the champion.
His real name is the Champion. Can you imagine going to the bank having to cash that check?
Do you think he's related to Todd Champion?
Possibly. Unfortunately, Todd did not possess the same booking prowess talent as his brother, The.
Yeah, fairly.
Yeah. So it's the Champion who versus Mike Nichols. And I don't know why, but I don't know why. I could not figure out why that name was so familiar. And I'm like, wasn't that the guy from the Louisiana TV station who changed their face to television? Like, no, that was Buddy Nichols. And it wasn't until Trae tweeted today. Want to take it from here?
I just made the mighty is about to kneel joke because the Australian wrestler who's a part of TMDK, Mikey Nichols.
Yes. Formerly part of TM61 in WWE, so the mighty 61.
Do you think that Mike Nichols is related to Buddy Nichols?
Oh, I'm sure he is. I don't doubt it for 1 second here.
It's funny because when I wrote that, I still wrote Buddy Nichols as like Nickels.
So both men are wearing a short black singlet, so it's hard to tell which of these men is a 280-ish pound champion and which is the 190-ish pound Mike Nichols. Champion Dry Hump Nichols, and then Le Champion, one with a pile driver.
Yeah, that was about it.
Replay of last week's very controversial situation with Dutch, Shoe Baby, and the Snowman. My exact words. Oh my God, they replayed Snowman's promo from last week.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh my God. And I am excited to bring it back up. Do we dare play it again?
I told you that we should just replay like our commentary on it from last week.
That requires me to do effort now. Pull up last week's episode. Oh my God. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But let's hear it. So yeah, if you want to try searching on YouTube for the Snowman tries to cut a promo on Dirty Dutch Mantel. Let's play that here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with the Snowman. You just saw what happened with Dirty Dutch Mantel. I know you're incensed over the situation.
Yeah, we saw what happened with Dirty Dutch Mantel and the old tactics that he be using. Let me tell you something. Dutch Mantel, don't nobody in the world play these kind of tactics no more. It ain't 19, it ain't no way 1827, 1828, 1957, ain't nobody living back in the past. Ain't nobody going for this. Let me tell you something, boy. Ain't nobody picking cotton, chopping cotton no more nowhere. Let me tell you something. Don't you ever pull a stunt like that again. And let me tell you something, Dutch Mantel. Boy, you got one more time to ever let me see you do it. I know you're trying to do it. This shoe, baby, I'm thinking about keeping this shoe, baby. Let me tell you something, baby. Ain't nobody gonna ever hit a brother with no whip, because let me tell you, it ain't slavery. It's 1985, sucker.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, those comments.
It ain't slavery. It's 1985. We may have to make that the episode title again. Oh, God.
The episode title should be We Ain't Living in the Past.
We ain't living in the past. 1 second here. We ain't living. Great. So, okay. As you saw and heard, by the way, it was Mark Rajan was the black man that Snowman made the save for. As you heard, Dirty Dutch Mantel had Shoe Baby. The Snowman took Shoe Baby and said he was going to keep Shoe Baby. Dirty Dutch Mantel versus Alan Martin. Dirty Dutch Mantel in his possession had Shoe Baby. No one bothered to ask how Dutch was able to get back Shoe Baby.
Maybe it was a different whip.
Maybe it's Shoe Baby 2. Maybe
El
we need to have
Hijo
a
de Shoe Baby.
Maybe we need to have a Shoe Baby on a pole match.
You think?
God.
I don't think that a Shoe Baby versus Shoe Baby match would be as good as that El Grande Americano versus El Grande Americano match.
Probably not. No. If this was TNA, they'd put Shoe Baby up on the pole and immediately fall off. Dutch, by the way, went with the Midnight Express. the MX. The Fantastics versus the Dirty White Boys. It literally just occurred to me, and I don't know if you ever thought about this, but the Dirty White Boys' full legal name is Anthony.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
I don't know what made me think about it now, but I think it's because I started writing out Leonard Denton and his partner Anthony. Like, oh.
I had a friend growing up whose name was Stevenson.
His parents hated him. Oh, God. So this is the Fantastics' first match on Mid-South TV since September. Weren't the Rock and Roll Express supposed to return this week? I think since the Fantastics were here last time, I think they've put up the barricades around the ring. So this might have been the first time they were here for that. It took them 2 minutes to walk around the ring. They got mobbed.
And the Dirty White Boys were getting irritated, and I couldn't blame them.
Oh, my God. They hugged and kissed every girl in the Irish McNeal Boys Club that day. Bobby Fulton was wearing the Diamond Dallas Page rib tape with no explanation as to why. And because Fulton and Rogers spent most of the time hugging and kissing all the girls, they didn't have any time left to have a match, and they went to the expiration of time limit draw.
I have a problem with this, and nobody but me is going to care. But if you're going to do a fucking TV time limit draw, ring the fucking bell before the credits start.
I agree. They seem to never be able to make up their mind because there was that time, remember like 6 months ago, they said that all the TV matches, like they're going to do the finish to the live crowd, even if they go to the expiration of time limit. And then like they drop that after like 2 weeks. It seems like they're kind of.
They drop a lot of shit after a few weeks.
I'm still waiting for Jim Cornette to get his money back. Probably not going to happen. But speaking of the Rock and Rolls, they did tell us that next week the Rock and Rolls are going to be here. The Snowman is going to be here. And the Fantastics, despite the fact that they could not defeat the Dirty White Boys, are going to wrestle Dr. Death and Ted DiBiase.
Well.
So maybe they're the answer to we need a babyface tag team in this territory.
I guess.
Yep. So that's it for Mid-South.
Oh yeah. Well, we're done. We're done.
Yeah. No, barely 54 minutes. I mean, you watched the Americano match. Anything you want to say about that?
Well, just like every problem that I could have had with it, like the rules not mattering, was like that's just AAA to me. Because anytime I've ever watched AAA, it just kind of seemed like there were no rules and people just did whatever. Like AAA to me for years has looked like kind of in terms of the wrestling style, like ECW with a bigger budget. Because like AAA has never been that traditional lucha libre. Like AAA was founded to sort of try to modernize because the CMLL powers that be, didn't want to modernize. But anyway, it was just this incredible, like, if you have an hour and they put the thing up by itself up on like the WWE and AAA YouTube channels. The hour covers like the pre-match VTR that tells the whole story, and then the match and the post-match, and it's just fucking incredible. Like, really, I don't want to praise Fed AAA, but man, kudos. Like, it's cool because they would not have been allowed to have that match on the main roster. I don't even know if they'd been allowed to have that match in NXT. They, like, the aesthetic of just, like, it was a classic mask versus mask match with the ripped mask and the blood everywhere. And just, like, I was glad in that moment that WWE AAA was, like, a place that existed so this match could happen. Because, like, it really is as good as people are saying it is. And Arya's muted, so
I started choking, so I put myself on mute. Dave gave us 5 3/4 stars.
I'm sure.
Let's say deep. Okay. So
I mean, I gave it 5.
Okay. Did you see the news from up Stamford way? WWE's American flag on top of their building. Somehow I guess there was a storm in Stamford the other night, and their giant flag somehow flew off the building and landed on some electrical wires and caused about 5,000 people to lose power in Stamford and Greenwich, Connecticut. And apparently it got worse because the next day when they tried to take it down, it caused about 40,000 people to lose power across that area.
Beware of Dog 3.
There you go. The flag was removed by late Sunday afternoon, and most power issues in the area look to have been resolved. Oh God, the flag caught on fire too. That's just hilarious.
That's incredible.
That's incredible was the tombstone that PJ Polacco used to do when he would show up for his bookings.
Yeah, it was.
Yep. Alrighty. I mean, I know you've been guilty of me saying you have anything else you want to talk about, but I mean, 58 minutes. I kind of like, man, I wish we had something else to talk about.
Well,
apparently not. So
what? I don't know what else you want to talk about. This is.
By the way, the Friday Impact show, I told Cindy at the time, we'll probably do this in like 20 minutes. It goes 43 minutes. We go almost as long as the fucking Impact show does.
Wow.
Yeah.
Must have been a good Impact.
All right. It was a good Impact. Pay-per-view sucked, but it was a good Impact.
Well.
All right. Well, that's going to be tomorrow and Friday. Thursday, we'll be back with Smoky Mountain. Next week, we'll be back with Mid-South and World Class. Trey is going to go insane trying to remember what show he's supposed to be doing when. But until then, thank you all for listening. I hope you all enjoyed the show. And we'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.